Inside the deadliest concentration camp of the Second World War, there were many sadistic and brutal guards who inflicted torture and punishment onto hundreds if not thousands of prisoners. Auschwitz was a site synonymous with execution and slaughter, and over 1.1 million people died within the barbed wire fences of the huge complex. Rudolf Höss, the commandant, insisted on the strictest of discipline for those inside of his site, and his guard staff developed their own torture and punishment methods. One brutal guard known as the Tiger of Auschwitz, Wilhelm Boger, created his Boger swing, a torture method where a prisoner was secured to an iron bar which was hoisted in the air, and they were then battered by whips and other weapons. But one of the most sadistic forms of torture used at the site was known as the post, and this was medieval inspired. Welcome to the fortress. Join us today as we look at the Auschwitz post, and to support our channel, please make sure to subscribe. There was a huge number of torture methods used inside of Auschwitz, and some of these were inspired by the medieval period. Within the torture block of Block 11, there were a number of standing cells in the dungeons. These were tiny cells in which a prisoner could not sit down or crouch. They were forced to stand for days on end, which was harrowing, and they were starved. One prisoner was so desperate that he even ate his own shoes inside of the Stehrbunker, or the standing cells. But these were inspired by medieval oubliettes, dungeons found within castles, where prisoners were simply forgotten. Used inside of Auschwitz and other concentration camps was a form of medieval torture, which was made infamous during the Spanish Inquisition, and this was a variation of the strappado. This was a structure in which a victim was suspended from their arms, which had been tied behind their backs, and this caused immense pain and suffering, and it was often enough for someone to submit to what their torturers wanted. This was used inside of Auschwitz and was known as the post. Punishment by post was frequently used within the deadliest concentration camp, and to begin with, it was initially carried out inside the main Auschwitz site of Auschwitz I. The prisoners were hung from hooks on high posts, and they had their hands tied behind their backs with a rope or chain that was then held at a height which made it impossible for a prisoner to touch the ground with their feet. They were hoisted up in the same way as the strappado, and with their arms behind their backs, it caused immense pain and brutal pain. The intense suffering caused by the twisting of the shoulders often led to victims to pass out, and their muscles and ligaments in their shoulders were often torn by the punishment, and their shoulders could also dislocate during the ordeal. What was also shocking was that the torture method of the post had a more dangerous effect than just the physical pain inflicted on the sufferer. If a prisoner of Auschwitz was said to have been too ill or weak to work, or they were injured, they would be selected to be sent to the gas chambers, and because of this, those prisoners who were damaged by their ordeals on the post were then sent to the gas chambers, where they were exterminated. This added to the death toll of Auschwitz, but ordeals on the post could last for 1 hour, and in some cases, there were people who were suspended by their shoulders for many hours on end, and this punishment was repeated. If they gave over information to their captors, they would be spared any more punishment, but this was also performed inside of Block 11, and also in public, in a similar way as flogging. The post of Auschwitz did travel in its use, as inside different concentration camps, there were other guards who utilised similar style punishment. Within the forests of Buchenwald concentration camp, there was a brutal guard known as the Hangman of Buchenwald, who suspended prisoners from their arms high up in the trees, and he was so barbaric that this guard was even sacked because of his terrifying actions that he was responsible for. This guard was said to have been even too much for the SS. But the post of Auschwitz at the end of the war, when the site was liberated, was shown to the Soviet liberators, and there is footage of a group of prisoners showing their liberators the torture posts and how these were used. It was certainly one of the most painful and dangerous torture methods deployed within Auschwitz concentration camp. Thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching.